What's up, everybody? We're back, episode 21, AI Code Central podcast. Hopefully, we sound a little better. We got some better equipment here. Um, New episode this week. Obviously, we are no guest.
No
Actually,
guest. Womp womp.
kind of don't mind it. Don't mind it. But we're going to go into the idea. We'll talk later, but like kind of the idea of what we're building with our app and who we are. I think it's more important. Who's
Yeah.
Connor? Who am I? And how we met, and then how we kind of put our heads together for this.
This is the history episode, more or less.
Yeah, going back, and there's a couple funny stories, but before we jump into that, what's new with you, Connor?
Oh man, let's think through. I mean, it's been a whirlwind the last week or so, I think work-wise. It's like one of those things where you always try and keep up and like when you'll get like, you have your checklist, right? And maybe you have 10 things and you get down to only two things left and you're like, "Yes, I'm right there. I'm so close." And then when you're just about to finish the last two things, you have 10 more things that pop up on your to-do list. So it's been it's been one of those weeks. I don't know if it's because it's leading up to,
You
well,
four,
we're in
man.
Q4. I
Yeah.
think that's probably part of it. But it's just getting hit from every side from a lot of the people I'm working with right now. So it's been busy, which is a good thing. I can't complain about being busy. I think everybody in my shoes or anybody out there who has a business would always be thankful to be busy as opposed to kind of waiting around and twiddling your thumbs. But as far as what else is new, I've just been like work mode nonstop for the last week or so, just glued to the computer. I got out Saturday for a little bit, but it's just been one of those weeks where
Did you
it's
work
just,
Saturday?
oh yeah, I worked Saturday. I worked
Did you?
Saturday. I ended up working some of Sunday, and
Yeah, so did I.
I'm just
On the
trying to
app.
yeah, I'm just trying to cross things off. It's like some of the stuff in there is AI, most of it is just trying to knock out a lot of client work and
Hmm.
what they're looking for. Um, so there's probably some consideration there for what I need to do to get it done, and maybe just have some admins take care of it. But I'm such a control freak when it comes to managing some of this stuff.
Do you have a standing desk?
I do.
You do.
Yeah, yeah, I do.
You're sitting right now, aren't you?
I'm sitting right now. I
Okay.
like to sit. If I'm gonna do something like, you think it would be the opposite. I actually thought about this too, not to go off topic too much, but I was thinking about doing the podcast, the next one standing up, just because I feel like it would be a little bit more natural. But I feel like when there's something this long, it's just easier to sit, makes me a little
Mm.
bit more comfortable. I think that's just a preference thing though.
I've found this in my old job, which I guess we'll cover before I got into this, pre-COVID in the agency space, but and subsequently AI. I used to be in sales, and our CEO, he used to be a drill sergeant. He would scream at us. He would like literal in the most literal sense scream at us on the sales team. Motion creates emotion. Fucking move around.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he would literally like scream that at us on the sales floor. I'm like, okay. So yeah, I mean, to me, like, I mean, I'm sitting right now, obviously, but when I move around, like when I walk around, I'm on wired headphones, but I feel so much better. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, like during client meetings, sometimes or just like meetings in general, I'll just sometimes I'll hop on my bike and go on the balcony and kind of like move
Are
around
you
a
serious?
little bit. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I get it, right? I think there's something to be said for that too, because it's really surprisingly, it's actually hard for me to sit still. I just have one of
Yeah.
those.
Just
It's
fidget,
mind
right?
and body. I'm
Yeah.
fidgety, and I'm always like, it's the same thing with work too. It's like if I'm supposed to be focused on one task, I'll have that tab open on one screen and I have three tabs open for the three next
Yeah.
tasks I'm like to do, and I'm trying to do them at the same time. So I think that kind of comes out in physically also because not like this situation, but if I have a client call where I'm typically not on video, I'm walking around. Like I'm on my phone,
Yeah.
I'm not taking it from the computer, I'm on my mobile device. I can still see everything there, but I'm walking around my apartment, I'm going outside on the terrace and just sitting out there. It's like I constantly need to move, and I do feel like that helps me in terms of expressing thoughts and opinions a little bit better than sitting stationary because it's just
Yeah.
a more confined type
Easier to
space, at least
think.
what it feels like.
Yeah. You just blood moves around. Humans weren't made to
sit still like that.
Yeah, just sit still. So
Yeah, yeah. So that was a really long digression into how my week was,
just
and
work.
I got it. Yeah, yeah. It's just been work, which again, it's I think that's a good thing,
Yeah, I
right? It's
get
kind
that.
of just sometimes you need to do that and just crush it and get it done, and hopefully next week is a little bit easier. But if it's not, that's the name of the game, you know. But
I get that.
what about yourself, man? You got something more exciting than work that happened the past week or so?
Well, making campaign pilots, our app. That's cool.
Campaign
On
pilot.
Saturday, yeah, I took your loom, cleaned up a lot of those issues that were happening. How there's an issue like after you authenticate, um, GA4 as far as connectors, GA4 and like Search Console like sharing data. It was almost like they were crossing wires.
Right.
So like if you're logged into GA4 and Search Console, you could pull in more data. Like the scope of the fetch was greater than if you're just logged into Search Console
Right. Yep.
as,
And that makes sense.
as stands alone. Um, so clean that up. Let's see. Yeah, on your I cleaned up most of this.
Did you ultimately get it like the connectors like straightened out? Is
Yeah,
everything? Yeah,
yeah.
we're good. So
It's
Search
like
Console and Google GA4 connect to their respective platforms.
it's ironed out. Yeah,
Nice.
and like once it's plugged in, so there shouldn't be any issues connecting, disconnecting, and there's wider fetch implemented for Search Console. So it's queries, pages, countries, devices, not core web vitals. That's a separate API. We'll put that in eventually.
Yeah.
And then we're waiting on, I spent like 6 hours on this yesterday. Google Ads API. That's like a whole thing. So you have to like request the token and then you get like a test token. So like the socket was plugged in
Right.
to the wall, but there's no like flow yet. So that's the test API key token is pending approval right now from Google.
Gotcha.
So I
All
sent
right.
that
Well, that's
yesterday.
cool.
Then we'll get like the a test API key, and then we can start messing around with it, make sure it really is truly connected because you can't tell until it's you're trying to flow data. Right.
Google. Come on,
Um,
Google.
and you know what? Through this whole process, I like trust Google like with my data now. Like I save all my passwords in the browser and everything because they are so stringent on. Holy smokes!
Oh, it has to be that secure. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's such a be such a blemish
I
on
mean,
them if anything ever got
yeah.
out. I mean, you were looking at what is it? So in terms of like data connectors, you were looking at Supermetrics. I know you sent something
Oh yeah,
over of
yeah.
like this is what we'd have to do
Forgot
if we
about that.
didn't
Yeah,
build it ourselves. And it's like Supermetrics is great. I've used it. It's awesome. It's great
yeah.
for data connection. But it's wildly expensive.
You
And
only get 10 users.
yeah, and you only get 10
I was
users. You
like,
only get a certain amount of accounts, and they want like $50,000
yeah,
a
like
year just
it's
to do
not.
that. And listen, I get it, right? They've probably done or they have done a ton of work in terms of you're just seeing a piece of it with like some of the API connectors. They're connected to almost every marketing
Yeah,
platform out there,
it's a
so it's
great
got to be a
product.
ton of work. Yeah, it's
Great
just
product. It just didn't fit
pricey.
our, yeah, what we were. I mean, the thing to me was just 10 users. It's like that's not gonna work.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So, yeah, worked on that. Okay, I'm keeping this. I have a notepad on my phone, like I said before. Okay, so building out campaign pilots, the AI, the AI agents, the pilots. That is fully functional. So GA4, Search Console.
Nice.
So everything in there is deep. E-commerce, like your first, when we were on last week, you couldn't get e-commerce data.
Correct.
GA4, so that's all updated. So you can say something like over the past 3 months or whatever it is, uh, what pages have give like resulted in like
The most
revenue.
revenue
Yeah,
or
like
products
what's
purchased or et cetera.
what pages of my pages, what's yielding 80%? There's probably only 20% of those pages. So it's like what do we
I
just
gotcha.
pass?
Okay, that's cool. I'm
So
gonna take a look at that and mess around with it a bit more.
that's good. Okay, so NHL started last week.
Oh,
Avs
that's right.
are undefeated in regulation. So I grew up in Colorado, played competitive hockey, and I'll tell you a quick story. So I won't peel the curtain back. I'll tell you a story when we're not recording, but okay, so I grew up playing hockey and
Not for you guys. Not for you guys out
uh,
there.
and started playing goalie, and so I just play drop in. Like, I was a forward, scored some goals. I was on the ice, and this lunchtime drop in here in the Denver area, there was a goalie that wouldn't show up. This isn't like, dude, this is like 20 years ago. So he was like off and on, and all the guys in the skate were like, dude, it's playing goalie with, or pardon me, playing having a skate with so many forwards showing up, so many guys showing up, like
Yeah,
25
yeah, yeah.
guys, and you don't have a goalie. It's horrible. It's like, why would you even go out there in the first place? So we're all trying to like, we're basically like paying this guy to come out here. Like, will you just come out during the day on Tuesday? So, and I was like, you know what? Being a goalie would be kind of fun because you're always on the ice. Yeah, it sucks to get scored on, but it seems like a good workout. You're just doing squats for an hour and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
So, got some gears, started playing goalie, loved it. Then I got hot. I got roped into some teams, which is pretty fun. Yeah, a bunch of years later, blah blah blah. I got hooked into this team. It is the here in the Denver area, as far as public, the best skates here in Colorado are private. Like, as in you have to be invited. Like, you have to know somebody. Like, give you like one chance, basically, to try out,
Yeah.
and you bring as much beer as you can fit in your bag for the guys, and you just hope you make it. Those are the best skates, like the X Pros, X
You
like I
bring as much beer as
yeah,
you
like
can. I love
you
that.
you have to. And I have pictures. Like, I played with like Joe Sakic, and I'm totally gonna name drop, and Hayduk and Pierre Turgeon, and like Hall of
Really?
Famers. Like, I play hockey with those guys. Yeah, and I'll show you a picture because nobody would believe me, but yeah, I have stories. So anyway, fast forward to this public league, right? So like anybody can just go to the website. Oh, I played in college, or I played pro. I play in the highest level, and then I think there's like 15 levels or something. So, again, this was probably 10 years ago at this time. We all sign up, and this is going with somewhere, so just bear with me. So we all sign up, and I get on this team, and this kid, he's a couple of years younger than me. I think he was in law school, or he was going into law school at the time, DU Law School. He was an intern with a local NHL agent here. And at the time, I worked at a hockey store. So the agent would come into the store, and I'd, sharpen his kid's skates. This kid was a AAA player. He's really good. Well, my buddy, David Ludwig, we call him Luddy, of course. Luddy was an intern at his agency,
Yep, yep.
like a well-known, not like an Ari Gold, but pretty close.
Ari Gold.
Yeah, just not an asshole. So fast forward a couple of years, like we played, and Luddy was a defenseman. Obviously, I was a goalie. We won a championship, not a big deal. And
Not a big deal. You just slid that in there real quick.
so fast forward a couple of years, and then he moved like a block. Like, his house used to be like right over there. Like, I could see like his refrigerator through the window. Like, that's how
What?
close from my balcony. Yeah. So then he took a job with Arizona. I want to say he was the Arizona Coyotes, and they had this BS. There a bunch of like logistical problems. The team was like losing a bunch of money, I think. They moved into like this college rink bar. They only let like 12,000 people in or something. And so he moved from here to Denver to Phoenix. So he worked for the Coyotes. So he got a promotion. He left the agency. He was an agent. He would do like negotiations, and he was dealing with like NHL players, which is pretty cool. He went through law school and all that. So the Billy Goat in Utah, I think his last name is Smith. I think he started a hardware company, like a tech hardware company, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, he bought Phoenix, moves them over here over to Utah, and Luddy takes the assistant general manager job
No
in Utah.
way.
So he is now the assistant general manager in Utah. Also, all that to say, last week Luddy was in town. I hadn't seen him in years, and he was at the team dinner. So that was Avs home opener was against Utah. So
Yeah.
he was in town for Utah. So last Wednesday we were trying to connect, really texting. He's like, dude, I'm at a team meeting. I can't. It's like, all right, let's try to get together during the game. And then I was supposed to go with another buddy from that same team. We're world champions. We're going to grab some tickets, go to the game, but that fell through. So I didn't see my buddy,
Dang.
Luddy, but congrats to him. It's so weird. It's so weird to see him on TV, and he's now the assistant general manager. And I just picture in my head, like, he would not shut his freaking mouth on the ice. He was an absolute mouthpiece. He would bitch at the refs. He'd bitch about the ice, and he was a really good player too. Like really. I mean, he grew up playing AAA hockey.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and now he's Now he's like the assistant GM
Assistant
in
GM.
Utah. Like, what
That's
the
so
hell
cool
is
though.
going on? And it's like I told my girl, like the only thing I have burned in my brain is him bitching about like warm water bottles on the bench. Like, it's so funny. Like, but man, good for him. He would always send these long like dissertation emails whenever we had like a 11 o'clock game on a Thursday of like it's not healthy and it's blah blah blah. And then he actually got the league to like change them the email.
Really? Oh, there you go. Good for
But
him.
pretty
So
cool.
you get any like free tickets if you ever head out to Utah,
Uh,
I guess? I'm sure you could.
yeah, I wouldn't pull that card, but yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question, but yeah, sharp dude, very sharp dude, and it's so weird to see him on TV. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of odd. I think I'd probably feel a little out of sorts if I saw a really close friend on TV like that. But
yeah, I know that was a very long-winded story. So he was in town, couldn't catch up with him, but we texted back and forth, and I did show him the trophy. I have it on top of my refrigerator, not a big deal, of our like world championship, and he's like, "Dude, just thinking about you. Like, we're talking about goalies." I sent him the trophy. This is a couple months ago, and I sent him the trophy, and he's like, "Fuck yeah, dude! Like, you saw the trophy."
so
Anyway,
I do fantasy hockey now. I got roped
okay.
into it. I'm not like huge into hockey. You definitely know 10 million times more than I do, but I got it roped into. Do you do fantasy hockey or
Mm-mm,
anything like that?
I
So I do
don't.
it with a group of friends who are, they're all really, really big into hockey, and I like fantasy enough. I like betting more. So I just started it, but I'm now understanding I have no idea what's going on. I really need to
Just
brush
pick
up on
Conor
my.
McDavid. Pick
Yeah,
McDavid
well,
and Vasilevsky and uh, Austin Matthews.
he was gone, but I'll show you a few
He's incredible.
through my.
I'm
I know I
convinced
heard Conor
that
McDavid
dude's
is
an
like,
alien. It's like a
yeah,
thing too, like amongst the like players, like the players union, like uh, between football, hockey, basketball. He's like head and shoulders. The disparity in skill set, it's like not even close between
that's
him
nuts.
and then like with football, it's like this much. In hockey, he's like it's like not even close. He's a freak. He's incredible.
That's insane.
Anyway, so he was in town, missed him. Speaking of McDavid, I have a point here. Go Oilers. They've lost 2 years in a row in the finals because they have a beer league goalie like myself in the net, and he had a tough start to the season, which was like one game. I can't imagine that dude's going to be there much longer. What's basically happening is they're burning McDavid's prime years in Edmonton. They
Ugh.
keep losing. He's unbelievable to watch. Okay. So Sunday, as they get through all this. Sunday we're like Sunday's winding down and girlfriend and I are looking for something to watch like, oh, let's watch a scary movie. We watched a couple of previews. Maybe I'm just getting old now that I turned
I
40.
mean, 40, I got a
Anyway,
couple years anyway.
anyway,
Sorry. Had to throw it in there.
we're like flipping through movies and then I was like, 28 years later is I used to love those movies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like 28 months later, I think, or 28
It's
weeks
28
later.
days later. And then,
What's
is
the
it
second
28
one?
days?
Yeah, 20 days later was the first one. What's the second one? 20 weeks later?
28, I think it's 28
Months?
weeks later.
Whatever number two was, I thought was freaking awesome. Like right when it starts, bam, you're like it's just whoa, what's going on here?
That's not the most recent one. The most recent one is 28 years later.
Right. That's what I'm
Yeah,
getting at. Is so
yeah.
number two was just bam, it just starts right away, right? And like you're off. We watched the preview for number three, and I was like, am I getting like this looks really scary? Is this too scary?
I didn't
Like,
watch it. I heard it was decent. I've also heard some
really?
other things about the movie in general that are just kind of funny that people were poking at, but I've
Oh,
heard good things. Did you
really?
end up watching it?
No, I was too scared. I don't want to watch that
Too
freaking
scary.
I don't really sleep, and two, I don't need to compound that with like, maybe my neighbor has the rage virus or whatever it is.
So you're
Like,
not a horror movie buff or anything like
normally
that.
I am, but I saw that preview and I'm like, this looks
Never
really
mind.
scary. Yeah, never mind. And then we saw a preview for there's a movie where this gal goes to a Airbnb. I think it's in Detroit or whatever, and there's like a booking mix up.
Okay.
Like she gets to the Airbnb thinking, of course, it's just gonna be her, but there's already a guy staying there, and the guy's like, no, just come in, it's fine, whatever. We'll, just
I
stay in
think
like a
I've seen
different
this
part of the
one.
house. You've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it?
yeah. I
Yeah, it
think
looked
so. Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't want to,
Oh,
like,
I
okay,
love horror. I don't care. I
oh
want
really?
like the scariest thing that you
It looked
got. Like,
horror, like. I didn't.
scary,
I just looked at her
gory,
like, is it weird that I don't want to see this? This looks really scary.
bloody. Have you ever seen it's called the movie's called Terrifier, and they have like
Uh-uh.
three of them out now. Oh, okay,
Terrified.
so if
No.
like yeah, you if those are shaking you up, I think you might look at this and be like, no, absolutely not. It's a clown. He's a scary clown, but it's like it's just the movie's wild. Like the
Really?
gore factor in it is like 12 out of 10. It's like they just take it
No,
to a
jeez.
level I've not seen.
Is it like
So
they're trying too hard?
yeah, they're almost
Okay.
trying too hard, but it's they do a really good job with like the prosthetics and like all of like the makeup and stuff. So it when it first came out, it must have been out maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, if not longer than that. It was a really good homage to like classic horror movies. And
Mm,
now the second and third one have kind of like it's more mainstream now, so you'll get a lot of people who know it. So it's kind of trying a little too hard to keep up with that
gotcha.
with the original that came out, which is just the classic.
Gotcha. So we did not watch 28 Years Later. We did not watch, I can't remember that name, the Airbnb mix up. It looks, yeah, pass. All that to say, one, I'm getting old. Two, movies are getting like too scary, I think.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
we watched the Halloween spoof movie #2, where they're like in the mansion and the guy's got like
Oh,
the
scary movie.
yeah, it's such a
Yeah,
stupid
yeah, yeah.
movie. It's definitely 2000s humor, but I laughed
Yeah.
so hard. There's a
The
couple
guy
of
with
parts.
strong hand, take my strong hand.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, yeah,
he's like passing out the turkey. He goes, "Let me guess, you want the leg?" And I was
yeah.
crying laughing when he did that. I was
Yeah, that's a really good
dying.
one. That's a really
It's
good
pretty
one.
bad, but and then we decided, you know what you're doing for Halloween yet?
No, so I mean, the city they do a parade every year. I haven't been to it in years, so I think I'm just gonna head into the city with my wife, and we'll go run around the East Village, Lower East Side, where the parade typically stops, and
Okay.
kind of bounce around, do a little bar hopping.
Yeah, we're gonna go to a friend's house.
What are you guys
Uh,
gonna dress up as?
mix it up over there. You know what? So normally I would go. I went 2 years ago as the Jesus from Big Lebowski. I put like a
Nice.
hairnet on, slick the
Yeah,
hair
yeah.
back, and of course I kind of fit. This year we're gonna do contestants from the Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh, that's
So we're
so
good.
cool. You're gonna be Blue Barracudas?
Okay. So wait, do you still watch?
No, I mean, I just come on. That's
Were you on that
nostalgia.
show?
No, I
Okay.
wish I was. I absolutely wish I was. But
Okay. Yeah. So my girlfriend's very into that. Like she wants to make like a whole get up and yeah.
like the
So
helmets and the pads and like
like
elbow
the
pads and
shorts, like
everything.
the shirts and all. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah.
when we get our costume, I'll text it to you. I mean, she's like really good at that stuff. So yeah. So we're gonna go as that and probably yeah, just like bar hop and which means
That's
like
cool.
3 beers and home
Yeah, we'll
sleep.
try and stay out a little bit longer. It's like I mean, a couple beers and I'm usually kind of tired and old and want to go home. But it's Halloween, so we're gonna try and stay
Yeah.
out and see what we're made of with all the young folks around New York City.
Yeah. And I think that was about it. That's what Halloween. The biggest takeaway of that is scary movies now are like really like
They're
really
like
scary.
CGI and stuff. I don't know. I can't like I don't know. I feel like the older ones are still my jam. I still what did I watch? Oh, yesterday I watched Scream. I just threw it on. I was like cooking dinner. I was like, let me just like throw an old
Okay.
school. Like me and my wife, we love Halloween, by the way. We decorate the whole place, like outside, inside is all decorated, lights everywhere, and it's like every night or every other night is like a scary movie for Halloween. And
Oh.
then once it's done, we're kind of over it. It's like, okay, it's kind of run its course. But when did we start? My wife was adamant about going to get our decorations up by like the second week of September. So I've had
Oh
Halloween stuff
wow.
up here for
Oh.
like a whole month. And now I still really enjoy it. And she's starting to like, it's starting to run its course with her. And I'm like, well, that's what you get for setting it up 2 weeks early. You need to have it set
Yeah.
up on October 1st, but is what it
Uh
is.
real quick story. So my old roommate, like pre-COVID, he was very not gullible. Maybe a little gullible. Just like yeah, friends are like real emotional, just kind of like up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he was like that, and we watched around Halloween time. We watched Paranormal Activity, and
Oh,
he didn't know that he only saw like 3/4 of the movie,
yeah.
and he didn't know that it wasn't real. So for
He
like a
thought it was
month,
real.
yeah. So like for a month, Oh, dude, he was so stressed, like so stressed. It was so he's like, dude, I haven't slept in like 3 days, man. What the fuck? Like,
Oh my
it was so
God.
fun. I was like, dude, that movie's fake. Like, you
Poor
gotta,
guy.
no way. Oh, dude, it was so
I would have
funny.
kept it going as long as I could.
Anyway, all right. As we wrap up our interesting lives in week, we're going to talk about today of how we met, how we got the idea for this podcast, and the app that we're going to introduce, and everything in between. So basically, going from A to Z.
Yeah.
And you've been in the agency space way longer than I have, like way longer.
Yeah, I went to school for it. I originally went to school for journalism
Oh,
and
really?
realized that I would never, there's two reasons why I switched from journalism to advertising and marketing and PR. But journalism, I always wanted to write. I always had like an infatuation with newspapers and magazines and things like that, and just doing like reports and covering things. But as I got older, especially in college, one, I realized I was never going to make any money unless I was writing, New York Times best-selling books or like, the main writer, beat writer for somewhere in a really large magazine.
Mm.
So that was one. And two, I remember part of your journalism major, you had to take a course in marketing and advertising. And the second I took it, I like absolutely fell in love with it. It was all about
Really?
yeah, it was just, and listen, they cover the most basic things. It's like, and I think a lot of people hear this throughout their schooling or in some capacity. It's like, it sounds bad, but like the propaganda stuff during like World War II, like what Germany was doing, what the US was doing, the types of advertisements and marketing they would do to change public perception was so interesting to me that I just immediately fell in love with it and just said, I don't want to do this journalism thing anymore. I want to learn more about marketing and advertising and that really the rest is kind of history. So it's like from school all the way when I was 17, 18, all the way up to now. So 20 years of just like advertising, marketing nonstop. And got out of school, got my first job in a marketing agency in Long Island where I grew up, and then went from there to a few marketing agencies in New York City and kind of just bounced around. No big agencies, nothing like that. A lot of like boutique, mid-sized things. But it was an awesome, awesome experience working at all of those because it kind of led to where I am now, where over the last, I think, 5 or 6 years, I've been able to run my own shop because I know so much about it. And that's through the experience of
Yeah.
working at all these places and seeing how departments work with one another, how you should handle clients, what types of clients you should work with, what kind of team you need in order to get things done in, good capacity and get things turned around quickly without any hiccups. So all of that experience, all that training from college all the way through to those smaller agencies kind of led me to where I am now, which is again, I'm 6 years into running my own agency. And by no means it's not huge, but I appreciate that it's not because there's a certain sector that I've always wanted to live in and I'm kind of comfortable with that
Mm.
now in terms of the type of clients I bring in, the type of agency I operate and what all that looks like because it's just such a good understanding of it. So that's that's kind of the agency experience how I got into all of that. And again, it's just kind of always excelled. I started off with like a lot of traditional agency stuff. So I think like billboards, like magazine advertisements, newspaper advertisements. I did some digital, but all these agencies were very serving to like traditional methods of advertising, which
Okay.
are fine,
W-
but boring.
would you get pitched by magazines for your
Oh,
clients?
dude, all the time. I would
Were
have
there any good salesmen?
There was a few that I would work with who were just, whether it's local or a larger magazine, most of them were local because a lot of the clients I worked with throughout my experience were mainly local clients or, medium-sized businesses, smaller-sized businesses, but all the time, man, like emails like in your inbox, phone calls specifically to you. And listen, it was great though. It was an awesome experience going
Yeah.
through that because you'd make really good connections. Sometimes you'd find a really good magazine like editorial to be in and know where to, know the best placement for your clients based on what they're going
Yeah.
to get in return. And you had some really good sales reps, but on top of it too, it's like they'd always sweeten the pot. Like if you get
Oh
this,
yeah.
you'll give
Nobody
you
pays
tickets.
rate.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. No, nobody pays rate. It's not even that. It's like, but if you would get that, they'd be like, okay, Connor, if you can hook us up with four of your clients to, within this month, it's like, we'll toss you some, it's a kickback, man. It's
Oh
like, we'll
yeah, some
toss you
golf
some
clubs
tickets
or
to,
something.
yeah, yeah. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, you want to go golfing like at this really nice course? Like, Yeah, we'll send you an invitation to go out. You want to go to the Mets game and sit in the box seats? Like, yeah, we have two tickets because most of these magazines are just subsidiaries of much larger corporations and publications.
Okay.
So they
Yeah.
have the means and the money to, like, a good example is I would work with Daily News quite often, and they would always have like these same box seats at Citi Field. And I'm a huge Mets fan, and this one salesperson knew it. So he would always get me with
Oh, oh yeah.
hey man,
Like,
like if you can get 4 to 6, of these placements for your clients, he's like, I got a couple box seats with your names on it, like all of this stuff. And that's supposed to go to the clients also, but it was a really, really cool relationship to have with
that's
them,
cool.
especially if they were cool people.
So I sold ads in a magazine. That's how I learned to sell, but it was independent. It was so there was no larger subsidiary, and it was a complete startup. I was the second salesman, and I hated talking to agencies. We would always go directly to we wouldn't go to the marketing person. We'd go directly to the CEO.
You are the people that we
Always.
didn't like as sales. That's
Exactly.
the agency setting because you would
Yeah,
go over our heads and it
exactly.
eats into our commission. So
Okay, okay.
because once they,
Rarely.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
There was two instances just because they're big company. One was the Army. I'll tell that story when I booked him, and then two was Cleveland Clinic, and I got Cleveland Clinic. The Army was a cold call. Cleveland Clinic was a cold email, and
What
then
was the name of the magazine or the publication?
Innovation in Tech Today.
Is it still around?
Somehow, yeah.
Because
Does it sound familiar?
it doesn't. It
Oh,
doesn't.
okay.
I'm
So
I'm about to look this up.
okay. I wouldn't have called you. Oh, like talk to my agency. Like no, like the agency doesn't make the decision, you do.
Correct. At the end
And
of
like
the,
I've learned
exactly.
how to push back like respectfully. And I remember one time I called IBM. I think it was right when their bot debuted. It was like right before COVID when I quit. I was really ballsy then because I was a top sales guy for 3 years in a row. Not a big deal. And like, dude, I was like number one sales guy at the corner office. I
We
had all
need a
this,
little like audio file that comes in. And it's like not a big deal.
not like a little sound drop.
Yeah, a little sound
And
drop.
I got IBM on the phone, and she goes, Charlie, look, send me an email. And you're like, I'm not going to send you an email. Like, you don't have the time to read one. I don't have the time to type one.
Right.
And then she goes, okay, what do you got? And I was like, and I said,
Put you on the spot,
that's
man.
actually never worked. And then we both started laughing. She goes, just send me an email. I was like, all right.
That's awesome.
So anyway, yeah, I was the person that would not talk to the agency. That was, yeah, I was the one that would chap your guys' ass because,
Yeah, because you cut into the commit. That's really what it's all about. Because if
yeah,
once you go to the client with your rate card and you say,
exactly.
all right, and your rates are either net or gross, and why am I brain farting right now? They're usually supposed to be gross. Um, so you can, manage your 15%. 15% is like the traditional agency commission
Okay.
fee, right? So it's
Okay.
like if a magazine would come to us and say, this is our rate card. And you have to say, well, is it net or is it gross? And they'd say, well, it's net, meaning that there's nothing added to it for an agency, that this is the amount they need in order
Mm,
to have the ad placement in their publication, right?
gotcha.
So you'd always have to say, okay, well, you like net, but I need gross because when I bring this to a client, like I need to make something off of it. And the reason is to why is because, we're the agency, we're probably going to have to do the creative, like where are
Yeah.
we going to make our money? And our money is typically made off of the commission fee. But when people would go around and just go directly to the client, they'd show them rate card. Client would say, I love this. It's, $300 for a corner placement ad, right? Say, and then they'd come to us as the agency and say, hey guys, I need the creative for this. And you're like, okay, well, what magazine? What's the specs? Who's this and that? And it just becomes this big mess knowing that they paid him direct. And now you're like, well, now what am I going to charge you
Yeah.
for creative? But it makes sense on both sides, right? I don't think it's a terrible thing. It's
It's just,
also a very old school way to
yeah.
to do things, which I just
Yeah.
like if I were running my agency and we're offering print like placement as a service, I would probably shy away from wanting to work with the media outlet if they were more comfortable working directly with the client and charge for like
Yeah.
a management fee or charge like a design fee and say, listen, like your design fee is this and your management fee is this, and you can pay the media company directly. I just think it makes more sense that way.
Gotcha. I learned from like veterans of the industry how to sell, how to talk to an agency, basically don't do it, how to close a deal. I learned a lot. I was there for 4 years. I basically learned what a phone was the first year. And by the way, we're commission only.
Yeah, you guys all
So
work on commission only, right?
yeah.
But don't you make a nice amount of commission on each?
Depending on, the size of the deal.
Yeah.
Second year, somehow pulled off some clients. I mean, by the end of my tenure there before I quit, I mean, I had the Army, Mattel, Cleveland Clinic, LiftMaster, Chamberlain,
No, no way. You were doing
couple
well.
couple startups, couple like who we almost got was it's a company called Doorbot,
Sounds
and
familiar.
they we went to so in the tech magazine, a section of the magazine was home automation.
Hmm.
And because of that, we went to the CEDIA trade show here in Denver, and we set up our little 10 by 10 booth. And I have a picture from that show, but I don't have Doorbot. Like, I think they're right next to us. And I was talking to the guy. We were having a beer. I think we were having a beer. It's like, I think we were just talking about Denver or whatever. And the guy's name was Jamie. And he had his colleague, and his colleague, I think they were out of their colleague's garage, but Doorbot was the name of the old, before the rebrand. It turned into Ring. And
Oh, no way.
yeah, so Jamie Semenov sold it for $1 billion. He was on Shark Tank. I mean, he obviously wouldn't know me, but it's always a little like clean. Oh yeah, I
That's
talked
cool.
to
Yeah, it's a
Jamie
little thing to
Semenov.
fame right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
mean, it is cool, right? Throughout your experience, especially again when you work with some bigger name clients. I mean, again, I worked at small to medium sized agencies. So like my first two agencies that I worked at, they were strictly automotive. And not like this isn't
okay,
like cool automotive. I'm not going to like, you know, Ford like or GM's like headquarters or anything in like Detroit. I'm working with Charlie's Chevy dealer down the street, right? Like,
okay,
and we would call it goes in tiers. Tier one are like your big corporate guys. Tier two is your regional stuff, and then tier three are like again, Honda of Manhattan, right?
gotcha.
Toyota of Denver, right? Things like that. So it was really, really cool. But again, the nameplate doesn't look as nice. But the thing is, they have money to, man, automotive, they have money to burn through like there's
Really?
no tomorrow because all of those tier three dealerships they all get handouts from corporate. So tier one or corporate OEM, which is like the original manufacturer, they'll be like, okay, you have $30,000 in marketing budget to spend this month. We're going to send it to you, and they would have to spend it on marketing because
Yeah,
obviously the dealership has to show transactions and
yeah,
receipts and all this other stuff. But if I could have made a different step, I think in terms of like thinking about agency and industry, it might have been more focused on automotive because it's where
really.
a lot of my experience was, and
Oh,
they just have all of this money, and
yeah, the
it's to
capital.
them it's
Yeah,
almost free money, right? It's
yeah,
like, yeah, it's free capital. It's like, well, if I have 30K to spend, I'm just going to spend it with the guy I'm comfortable with or the one who I know
yeah.
gets me results. The problem is it's such a competitive market. And I think because of that reason, like
Yep.
there's just so many agencies that cater towards automotive only. And once
Mm,
there's a lot of loyalty that's mixed in
gotcha.
there, right? So like them working with our agency, the one I was working at was it was called On a Dime, and then before that it was called Sid Patterson Advertising. Sid, if you're out there and you're listening, I apologize, but Sid was just this old ornery man who would just you would walk in at like 9:05, walk past his office, and he'd be like, "Oh, good afternoon," and you're like,
Ah,
"Man,"
yes,
you're
he's
like,
that guy.
I'm
Yep,
5 minutes late, man."
that's who I worked for. Yep.
Yeah, and then he'd walk in like to the main office area where everyone's kind of sitting and chumming it up, and if you're not at your desk working on something, it'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what are you doing over here? This is interesting." Because I'd have like I don't know a Mets article pulled up, and it's like, man, like, come
Who's
on,
grazing over here?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but listen, still good experience nonetheless. But yeah, those nameplates, that was the whole point of the story. The nameplates and some of that stuff's cool. I mean, before I transitioned fully over to doing my own thing, I worked at one agency in Manhattan. This was around COVID, so everything was still remote. But I worked with Casper Mattress, which was really, really cool
Ah,
brand.
is that CEO? Is his name Neil?
That I don't know. I never worked with
Does
the
it sound
CEO. I was just working
okay?
with like the marketing director at
I
the time.
found that dude's cell phone. So my thing is, I had like a so-so pitch, but I was really good at finding cell phone numbers. I have that
What
guy's
was the
cell phone
secret,
number.
Charlie?
Uh, really good research. I guess that's why I got into SEO.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good research, and I was really good at like I used to call in. How did I get that guy's number? Oh, I can't remember. I one time I called in. If they're not listening, but if she is, Reverie, this is how I got your cell phone number. Reverie, they like white label for like cat, not Casper, Purple Mattress. Like
Yeah.
they're big, like big, big, big. There's it's a husband and wife, and she's so awesome. Her name is Lisa. I called into the accounting department because accounting always picks up the phone. I was like, oh, sorry, I was looking for Martin, the CEO. I was looking for Martin. And he's like, oh, no, no, you need to call him. And he's like, oh, it's a 248 number, right? 248, because two for Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 248-555-5555, right? He's not the number. It looks kind of off. He's like, no, no, no. It's 248-444-4444. And I was like, oh, and I just like write it down. I called the CEO.
Sneaky.
I called the CEO and he's like, somehow you got my cell phone number, but you need to talk to Lisa. She's a decision maker. And I was like, okay, can you just like text me your number? And if you have the balls to ask. He's like, no, no, but her cell phone number is this. So I had a ripped out page. Like they had creative, so they were
Yeah.
running ads. And then I had a sticky note, Lisa, I remember her last name. I'm not going to say it, Lisa Smith. And then I just had her cell phone number. And I was like, yeah, look, I got her. I was like, okay, I have to call her before this husband sends her a text. Like, who the hell's this Charlie guy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or if they're in the same car, which might even be better. But I remember calling her. She's like, "Wait, how'd you get my number?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I talked to Jane Doe in accounting, and then I just talked to Martin." So it is
Creative, man.
now good. And then I just like learned how to like, okay, like you can't just go in. Oh, I'm looking for John Smith. You see, like, no, you're gonna get
Creative.
thrown off. Yeah. So I learned how to do that. Yeah.
So
Fast forward. Go
yeah,
ahead.
like no, no. I mean, I was gonna ask you, I guess, too, just because I know we're kind of like we're stringing along here, but I think I'm more curious, like with you. So I know your experiences in sales, specifically for like magazines, publications. Like, when did the SEO thing happen for you?
Okay. So I quit. I was to me, I like look. I'm
And
bringing
what
in these
year are we looking at when you quit? Was this like
uh
COVID too, like digital?
2017. I was so
Oh, so
burned
a few
out.
years before.
Yeah, I was so burned out from this because that's like, because I have that obsessive trait. That's all I did was just this magazine and selling ads. And I was a top sales guy. And of course, the CEO was like, okay, like who's going to take down Charlie this year? And just that BS.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I want to say it was right around, I think it was early 2018, because I remember that's when Bitcoin like plummeted. And
Right.
I had
Yes.
some Bitcoins and I was like into that space a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting these big clients, like I just mentioned, from cold calls, from cold emails. I'm the one pitching it, I'm the one closing it, like paying like good sized invoices.
Yeah.
But magazines are worthless. So why don't we just get into tech? I can sell it. If I can build it, I can sell it.
Right.
Like that was my logic. It's never that linear or easy. So I got into it towards the I remember I started my agency, the like generalist agency, like it was like right before COVID. I took some time off. Um, I got in like wicked shape. I was like, I wasn't ripped, but I was like pretty solid, and I got really good at hockey, and I got really stupid. For like 6 months, I didn't work. I was like, I was so dumb.
In
Uh,
shape, stupid.
I was so stupid. And then yeah, and then I was like, fuck, I think am I running out of money? And then I just picked up the phone, started cold calling, and got my first client like the second day, and it was a big project. And yeah,
Was
that's
it an
how
SEO project?
it was a website redesign.
So how did
And then
you?
he got pardon me, and then he got into okay, cool. Now like he built the website. So what's next? I was like, I guess we need to get some traffic to it. I was kind of like I heard it before just from talking to agencies or from the magazine talking to
So did you design the site or did you contract out the site
I
design?
contracted that out, and then the owner of the my first client, he's like, yeah, like let's get some people there. It's SEO, right? Like with the keywords, and I was just like, wow, I don't even know
But
what that
yeah, you
means,
were just like, I have no clue right now.
but I'll figure it out. And then so got into SEO around 20 it was after COVID, end of 2020, maybe 2021, I
Has
want
to
to
be
say.
around 2021 because
Yeah,
that's
and
when you and I met,
that
really.
yeah, that's and then I sent a cold email. I won't say who we might have it on the pod because he's in the AI space
You
now,
could
but
bring up the old, good old Steven
that
Steerman if y'all are
that
listening. He's a good dude.
beautiful beautiful animal.
It's
He
exactly what he is. It's a beautiful animal.
I sent him a
We
cold
love Steven.
email of like, hey, like we just ran an audit on your website, but are you the person to send it to? And then you just blast it out, right? And then the ones
Yeah.
that respond, you actually make the audit. So you're
Yeah.
not wasting your time. And he's like, yep, send it. And he was one of my only responses. And I was like, all right. I made it. And then we scheduled a call. And then he showed up 20 minutes late, which really pissed me off.
Yeah, yeah, you love timeliness. Timeliness is
You
your
know,
thing.
yeah, I can't stand that. And he wasn't wearing a shirt.
That
A
is steering all the way. That's
little
Steven.
butthole. Yeah. So he showed, I was like, I'm terrified. Like this is like my first SEO, but like I'm terrified at this point. My hands are like almost shaking. But I'm like, did you
Honestly,
get the invite? Or he's like, yeah, I got it. I'm just late.
honestly, it was, if anything, that was probably one of the best first ones to have because Steven, super sharp, like really smart,
Yeah, smart dude for sure.
really, really smart, but also very collaborative, I guess is like the right word. Like he gets in the weeds with you. Like he's
Yeah.
not one of those guys who's like, well, figure it out. I don't get it. Why isn't this working? He's like, well, let's figure out why this doesn't work together. Let's look at this. What about that? He's very, very loyal to a point, maybe to a fault sometimes, but very loyal to the point where he wants to figure out the issue with you before he says, okay, this isn't working. I need to find
Yeah.
an alternate solution. Maybe got
Um,
lucky in that sense. Who knows?
Yeah, it's all timing, right? And I learned from him. I learned a lot. I mean, I learned a lot from all the companies we worked with, but I learned from him. He was the first one that was like, "All right, let's go, let's scale, ready, fire, aim." Is that the plan? All right, we're
And we
off.
did it. And we did
Yeah,
it.
and we flipped that thing around, and that's where I was learning about like how to, I think we are both learning in the sense of Steven and myself. He told me he's like, yeah, dude, like I'm learning how to be a CEO, I'm learning how to run this thing, and in my head I'm like, "Oh, me too, dude," but like I'm not going to say that to the client. Um,
Sorry, Steven.
uh, no, like we went back and fixed everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, and that thing was cranking, man. This is when 2020 again, 2021, I want to say.
Just 2021
When
because
the algorithm
yeah.
wasn't as stringent as it is now.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane
So,
now.
I mean, dude, they're getting results, and I didn't know. Like, I was contracting a kid who real deep in SEO. Of like, I didn't know how to report SEO. I didn't know like Search Console. I didn't even know what the hell any of that was. They were just numbers on a screen to me. And yeah, so I didn't know how to report the value of SEO. And yeah, the project you and I first met was that project,
Yeah, it was
and
it was Elevate. I think it was I was
yep.
kind of common I was kind of, captaining the marketing ship, I think, at that
Yeah,
point.
it seemed like, and then I remember getting an email late from you, late like a Tuesday night at like midnight, I
Yeah,
think,
it
or
sounds like me.
like 11. And then I looked you up and I was like, a store, wait, he doesn't have a website? Who the hell is this guy? And then you were sharing like a password. I forgot that there's a platform that you sent a password on. You gave me credentials. So basically, use these credentials, log into this platform. Here's your password for so and so and so and so and
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
blah blah
yeah.
blah, whatever that's called. You sent me that, and then I was like, "Who is this Connor guy? What's he doing? This guy's a savage." I don't know what's more weird, the fact that you sent it or the fact that I read it and did it like right there, like 11 on a
Probably a
Tuesday.
little bit of both. A little bit
Maybe
of both.
maybe both, yeah. That's when I knew I was like, all right, this guy's like on his shit. So that obsessive mindset. All right, he's got it. I can
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I mean,
yeah,
listen, that was very much still. I mean, I'd had all of the experience I needed to confidently approach things from a marketing perspective with, good strategic advice and oversight, but I was still so green to running my own business and how to do it that I mean, I really was almost I was a one-man show at that point. I think I had
when
myself
I
and I had like two other people, a
yeah.
designer and maybe three, a copywriter and like one account coordinator who would just help me do things on the side. But I mean, it was awesome though. I mean, honestly, one of the best experiences I've had as an agency owner was working with Elevate. I think for a few
Mhm.
reasons. One, because again, Stephen was such a influential person on how to approach things, right? From a business perspective and almost like, I don't know, organizational perspective. I knew absolutely nothing about SEO. I mean, I knew of it, right? Everyone had been talking about it, but I knew absolutely nothing in terms of SEO, its impact on websites, what it could do. And the minute we took that, applied what you had suggested, got their emails up and running, like the email stuff is what I took care of. It's like you couldn't really run any ads, took care of some stuff on like social, like the very
Yeah.
limited things you could do. It's like I just remember it's a case study on my website right now. It's
Is
literally a
it?
case study on
Okay.
my website. Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but we increased like their appointments by what, like 200 or 300%
It was a
year over
lot.
year.
Yeah. It
You
was
know,
it was a lot. And if I knew now how to report on this back then, I think things would be a little different, but that was a good experience. I didn't know anything. I remember a monthly meet. I didn't even know you did monthly meetings for SEO.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't even know that.
I did like a monthly big marketing meeting. I do that with most of my clients still. Like
Okay.
where if they're listen, if we're doing that much or I'm involved that much, I think it's worthwhile too because it gets
Yeah.
everybody on that same page.
I remember you going through something, and I think it was like because I would spend like seriously like 14 hours a day just on Elevate and keywords and competitors and like literally obsessed with it. And I learned like pretty quick. And then I think there was a meeting. I don't remember how far into the campaign. It wasn't maybe more than like 3 months, but I think you said something about like the SEO improved. Maybe that's because of like it was it wasn't related to SEO, but it was something like a changing the nav bar button. It was like not related, but I remember thinking that's not an SEO thing. I know more than this guy with SEO. He knows like more like point being of like I'm so obsessed with this. Holy shit, I've learned this in like a
Yeah.
very short amount of time. I think I know more than this guy about SEO, is like good. So that was like a little like vote of like confidence. There was I won't mention her name, but there's a third party agency that came in and like tried to do some work. And
For Elevate?
yeah, for Elevate. And that
Who-
didn't last long.
Oh,
Like,
oh, was it the backlinks folks
no, it was before that.
before that?
Yeah. About a year before that.
You can't name drop anything, huh?
No, no, it'd be kind of weird.
All right, no problem.
So she was local in Austin.
Gotcha.
Um, look, it was a learning experience, but I remember thinking like they have no fucking clue like what like the value that I'm bringing is easy to now demonstrate going through this much time in the
Right,
campaign, but it's like
right.
what how do you quantify what they're doing? And then I get a WhatsApp text from Steven. He's like, yeah, dude, they're no longer there, so let's just roll with SEO. Like, all right. So we scaled that
Dope.
up. Yeah, and then you and I started working together, and then there was more clients um, under that
Well, those
umbrella.
are really your I guess for everyone listening. So this was Charlie's abstract growth
Yeah,
days, right?
yeah, and then
My
brought
agency's
on.
always been the same. I've always been a story advertising, but you,
Oh yeah, so brought on Kaz when she basically ran the magazine, and then her and I became friends. And she was a no bullshit like. I mean, she was a honey badger. Like back in the like, she was an absolute honey badger because these sales guys, we're wild animals. We're just commission only, right?
yep.
And a guy closes the deal, he's gonna puff his chest and stomp around the sales floor. Yeah, not with Kaz. You had to like wait in line, and you had to bring her Starbucks coffee to like go into her office and like talk to her about something. Like, no, she
I
like
can see
whipped
that.
them. Yeah, she did not fuck around. Pardon my language. Um, yeah, she was hard as nails.
I
And
could
one
see
time
that.
I think she got caught in traffic once, and there's a bunch of sales. There's like 6 or 10 sales guys, and then Chuck is running. Whatever, who cares? Chuck is running the sales meeting, and again, Chuck was a army vet, so you know, he's literally in our faces. Pick up 100 phone calls a day. Talk to decision makers. Do not talk, that. And Kaz walks in like 5 minutes late, and Chuck's like, "Oh, look at this!" And look who's 5 minutes late. Our operations arm. She can't even. And she goes, "No, you don't fucking talk to me like that. I will fuck you up." And I was like, "Whoa, what was it?" And then Chuck was like, but
My
like in a
bad.
weird way, like he wants that, like that kind of pushback. And he's like,
Yeah,
all right, okay, moving on. So just like starts laying into us again. And ever since then, I was like, well, that's my BFF.
that's awesome.
So that's how we met. So all that to say, I brought on Kaz because she's the operations arm. She's like, okay, do this. And then, typical agency scaling, pricing, who are you working with,
Yeah,
operations, how do we, SOPs and all that. And you're like, you know what? Our best clients right now are dispensaries. Dispensaries typically cannot buy Google ads. They
right.
have they have to do SEO in order to scale. And we have the roadmap for that. And so we transitioned into a very niched agency. We do one thing for one type of client, and we started a podcast. And that's where we cut our teeth on podcasting. And over time, I think we've got 110 episodes,
Yeah,
somewhere in there. We had you on to talk about data analytics.
that's right. That's right.
I was in, I was at the bike park. I was at Trestle, and I remember I was looking at a trail map, and Kaz was like, anytime, Charlie, you want to chime in and ask Connor a question since he is giving us our time, feel free." Whatever, Kaz. Um,
You were off enjoying life, man.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Trent, that podcast picked up some steam, but it's a very limited TAM, right? It's that there's challenges in that industry for sure. So,
Yeah.
learned a lot. Our competitors listen. We some big retailers listen, but yeah, it was cool. I'm glad we niched down.
Well, you've always said that, that was always all of the conversations we've had over the years, right? Was obviously how's business going, what's happening, and then it's like, have you niched down yet? Have you done this? Have you read that? And I always appreciated
Yeah.
those conversations we would have because, listen, it's one thing to talk to. It's one thing to talk to clients, right? And talk business and talk shop, but you don't want to let too much out. But when I'm
Yeah.
talking to, like someone like you or a few other, other agency owners who are in the same boat, right? Smaller, not like this big thing, but it's just really insightful to get other people's takes and opinions on how things are working for them because you can
Yeah.
I feel like over the years I've taken little pieces of what you've done that's worked really well for you, of what other people have done that's worked really well for them and tried to incorporate it into my workflows, my SOPs, my stands, organizational structure, and it's all benefited it in a positive way. So
I think we've learned from each other. I've been reporting because that was the whole idea around campaign pilots because it's such a pain in the ass of like how to do this, how to do this. What does this mean? What does this mean?
yeah, yeah.
What's the story? Okay, yeah, cool. There's numbers on a screen. What does that actually mean, and what does that mean for a client
Right. Well, I
or
think, yeah.
website in general?
Yeah, I think that's been a pain point for a lot of people because it's not just you're not the only person who's reached out to me for that. It's like I have a few again, other like colleagues, other agencies that either need me to, white label something or
Hmm.
help with reporting. And I don't know what it is. It just gets lost on a lot of people. And without it, it's almost like you're just misguided and there's so much misdirection because unless you have a solid report and foundation to look at, it's like, what
Yeah,
are you working towards? Right. So that's always been my stance on it.
yeah. Fix your data, and that's say when you transition to this new agency, started hiring you to do the monthly reporting, and then to really communicate and tell the story around the data. So that's where, and then I would joke with you of like even like maybe one or two other guys of like this is cool like agency like learn a lot and all that, but
Yeah.
I'll always stand by that Freddy Krueger meme where he's like sitting down like ripping a dart, and he's like, man, I've been
Ripping
chasing.
a dart. I love
Yeah,
it.
he's just ripping a dart, and he's like, man, he's like all stressed. He's like, I've been chasing everybody else's dreams. I forgot to chase my own.
Let's bring that up really quick. I really need to bring that up.
If you're driving right now, just pull over and pull out
Yeah,
YouTube.
you got to see this thing.
I saw it and I was like, all right, yeah, that's spot
Oh,
on.
what is it? It's Freddy Krueger chasing my own dreams.
Yeah.
Let's see what this is. Just chasing my own dreams. Let's see. This right here is what we're talking about, right?
Yes. Yeah. Sucking down a dart. Love
Been
it.
chasing people in their dreams so long, I forgot to chase my own. It it's
Yes.
classic, and it
Dude,
is.
like that's it, right?
It is in a nutshell. And this is another thing you and I think you might have sent this to me. I think we knew each other for like a year. So maybe
Yeah, dude, it was like
2022.
4 years ago.
Yeah, and you're just like, "Hey man, eventually like this agency stuff is great. It's cool. I love it, but there's got to be a better way, right?" And you're right because I don't know, man. I have a client who has an agency and I help assist them with some of like their paid media stuff as a partner. And he literally just he's like, "Hey, I found a little niche of golf products that people don't have. And it's like these really cool golf products, but more so his flagship thing is like really cool golf carts because golf carts are used for more than just the golf course, like down south. I don't know how it is by you over here. We don't have it, but down south and out in like California, there's so much property and space in certain areas that people use their golf carts to go from
Yeah,
place to
yeah, yeah.
place instead of like driving their car.
Mhm.
And he's yeah, I see a hole in the space and I'm gonna whip up a website and I'm gonna start driving people to it. And it's like this guy used to run an agency just like you and I and do his own thing. And now he's like, yeah, if I can do it for other people, why can't I just whip up my own e-commerce site and
Exactly.
start selling product? And it's like, so he went from having to manage 20 different clients, 15 different clients, worry about all these different things. And now all he cares about is his one business.
That's
And he
it.
knows how to do or push all the right buttons to make the business work. And it's something that's always been intriguing, but it's also a lot easier said than done, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. If I pull up that WhatsApp, I think I know when it was set. For context, I don't smoke weed. So I think it was a Friday night, and I think you were at dinner. It was like late on a Friday, I think, because I sent it, and then I think we laughed, and then I don't think you sent anything back. But if I find it, I'm going to go through my WhatsApp
You
after
got to
this.
timestamp this thing for
I'll
everybody. That would
send
be
it to you.
great to know.
Yeah. Okay, so we transitioned in. I was hiring you for the monthly reporting. Oh yeah, and then ChatGPT came out, and
I mean, it's AI. You don't have to even have to say chat. I think it's more so.
GPT, yeah, it
I
was.
mean, let's take a few steps back because you and I, we had worked through a few other clients. Elevate was really the big one. Then we worked on a few e-commerce sites together.
Oh yeah, 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 and
And then
same
you really
thing.
needed the reporting. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like these comprehensive reports. They'd be done, and I would just do the SEO. Obviously, like I would just cover my arm of it. And these reports were like, I'm thinking like, how long do these reports take? These are pretty baller. I bet if I could, and then I started thinking, I bet if I could just hire Connor's team to do it, would my, CLV go up? Like, would I keep a client longer? Um,
Typically, you do. Again, it's transparency and reporting and letting
yeah,
them know what you're
like
doing,
if
right?
you're good at your work, first and foremost, if you're good at what you do and you can just show it and communicate it, then yeah. And
Yeah.
then, recommended next steps. Then I would just like jump in there with that. So yeah, so we had some e-commerce clients. Um,
Then we kind of had like a little, like we didn't, we, of course, we kept in touch. I just don't think we worked on anything for quite some time either before the reporting. Or it feels like it was a little bit less,
that
maybe just because we weren't working on as many clients together.
Yeah, that sounds right. I was doing some traveling. Things were working. Yeah, I was single, and things were working with the agency. So uh, I was
Yeah,
taking
yeah, yeah,
advantage of
letting it
that.
coast. I mean, of course,
Yeah,
it's like let it do its thing, earn some money, and everybody's happy. But I think to your point too, it was almost it's one of those. It starts coming up where you're just like, man, like again, if other people are developing it and I'm marketing it and doing it successfully, it's like, why don't I just
so
make it myself?
AI came out. I remember that was right when our podcast was starting to get listens, and then like, or no, it was before that. We were messing around with like the name of the podcast, like what we're gonna call it, and Kaz, she said, "All right, let's call it dispensary growth." And I was like, yeah, "That's all right. Let me ask GPT." And sure enough, like no joke, the very first idea that GPT had was dispensary growth,
Dispensary growth.
or pardon me, dispensary high rankings. Holy smokes,
Oh, that's right. High
high
rankings.
rankings.
Dispensary goes to the name of the agency.
Yeah,
High
yeah.
rankings
Holy
is the name of
smokes.
the podcast.
Yeah. And yeah, like we just talked about, and turns out people want to learn and people want to listen to SEO guides and how to and schema markup and content clusters and silos and all
There's
this
a niche
keyword
for it all, man.
research and all that. And so yeah, people listened and then AI hit, and then we started doing like website episode outlines with it, and then we like really started messing around with it, like, whoa, this thing is wild, like GPT is bananas. And then I think it was in February. I was prompting. I don't remember what I was prompting. I think I was trying to get ROAS. I think this is right before I was like, this is right before the fuck it moment. I'm just gonna call in an expert, Connor, on how to report this. I was doing it with GPT, and then it prompted something back of like, because I was trying to get ROAS, and it prompted something back of like, do you want me to visualize this in like a calculator app? And I was like, I don't know. Okay.
Sure.
And then it made like what would be like the landing area for an app, like a web app. And I was just like, and it's like stared
And
at the
that was it.
screen
You were
for,
sucked in.
yeah. And there went like the rest of my like month, like just on, I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, wait a minute, if it can make this, can it do like a calculator? And then it made like a calculator with all the buttons there, and then like the logic worked. And I was like,
Yep.
okay, this is nuts. All right. So I spent like 2 weeks. When I say 2 weeks, I mean like 14 days straight of like 10-hour days of I made a forecast calculator for clients. So like during the sales process, the question would always come up of like, okay, yes, we get rankings. Yes, we want that. When are we going to start making money? And I made this forecast of like based on historical data, AOV, conversion rate, sessions, all organic, of course. Here's what you can expect reasonably based on the value that we bring. And then it was visualized at the bottom with like, you know, a green bar, like a chart.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah,
a green
yeah.
bar, here's a red. Over time, you're going to pay this much, but your SEO is going to go up and to the right over time. It was based on the input that was put into it. So it was based on the client or prospect, pardon me. It's based on the prospect at that point. And one like really was like, holy dude, this is nuts. The first time we went through a sales process for that, they were like, this is like really freaking cool because it was ours. It was our IP.
Right.
So it lived, that belonged to us. And I remember sharing it with you. I was like, yo, by the way, peep this real quick. And you're like, what is this? Who made this? And I was like, I made it. Well, AI made
With
it,
some
but
assistance from AI.
yeah, yeah. And right there, I was like, I wonder if some other agencies would pay for that. I didn't go down that route, but that's when I really started messing around with AI.
Yeah. And then now you're all the way to almost launching and rolling out
Yeah,
campaign pilots, which is
yeah.
it
So then,
shows how much you can do though in a short amount of time if you're willing to put the time and the effort into.
have you? So okay, you've messed around with it still.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, my first, I mean, to kind of, it's not going to echo what you went through, but I mean, ChatGPT came out, and I was initially using it as just like an admin, like assistant, right? It's like, hey, take this Excel file and add these formulas in, organize
Mhm.
this for me. Hey, can you help me update this copy based on grammatical and spelling errors, right? Can you write emails for me, right? And listen, it's unfortunate. That's just the way it goes. And it's like sometimes it was just easier to go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I have 10 emails I need written for a client this month who's an e-commerce brand that specializes in X, right? Can you please come up with 10 of these content outlines based on this framework? And again, it's like I can pay somebody 15, 20 hours to do it, or I can have AI do it in a matter of 10 minutes and the output is pretty much the same thing, right? There's not a lot of differences, albeit some minor editing. But that was like my first like use case with AI. It's like really leaning into ChatGPT, trying to knock off as many like administrative tasks as possible, save some money for my agency and my bottom line, and kind of wash away some of that stuff. And then I started getting really into the vibe coding stuff and what could be done with it. That was really this year, if anything, like 2025. Like I had used ChatGPT the year before very briefly, again, for those admin things. Then 2025 was like, okay, there's a lot of potential here to build other things. And that's where it was like, how can I build something that I wasn't necessarily looking to build a tool that I could replace the agency with. It was what tool can I build that will take a bulk of the workload off of my plate or off of my account manager's plates to automate things, right? And that was building out forms that people can fill out and an email automatically gets input into their system. That was building like DNS record checkers. Like I have one that I built that I use for onboarding email clients now that says put in your domain name and it'll tell you if it passes or if it fails SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, right? And there's a ton of those out there. Like it's just people don't know to look for it. So when you're working with an ecom client or you want to pitch somebody or any client for that matter, it's like, hey, put your domain in here. And if any of it fails, it means that your domain's not authenticated, which means your emails are likely going to spam. Do you want to set
Mhm.
up a phone call? Or if I'm onboarding someone, it's like this is a quick way to validate it and check. And that's when I got really into the build, what it was capable of and how I could leverage it from an agency perspective. And then conversations you and I would have, you kind of opened it up a lot more into, yeah, you can do this and you can help out your agency, but we could also just build something ourselves. And really, I mean, all the credit goes to you. It's like you're the idea guy, and I know you're the
Not
one
a big
who's
deal.
not a big deal, not a big deal.
No, I think I could kind of build it, but I need somebody to keep me like focused.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what Kaz was good at. And I need perspective on somebody that was like, that sounds selfish. That app needed the idea behind the app needed data expertise.
Yeah.
That that's what it was missing. And then it needed like real agency expertise.
Well, yeah, and listen, I think that's why it works out so well because again, you bring the building aspect to the table where it's like you're going to sit down and you'll crunch 6 hours in a row of just like, well, I got to figure this out and untangle it. Whereas my experience is more suited towards the what's the output? Is this something that an agency owner, marketing executive, CMO
Mhm.
could actually use? And if it's not, how do we tailor it to make sure that it's going to have an output that accommodates what the cost is going to be, right? And you need I think you need those components, right? Because again, if you have just one person trying to do it all, I don't think you're ever going to end up anywhere. And
Mhm.
you're going to roll it out, and you may say, "Yeah, I think this is great," until someone says, "Yeah, but it's not giving me the data I want, so no, I don't want to pay for it." Right?
I think yeah, I think you're right. And the idea I think I was trying to do like I was just screen grabbing GA4 data and just uploading it into
Chat or
GPT.
Claude,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Cloud and then
Claude.
summarize this data. It's not really enough. Like it was doing it, but it was bland. It was like okay, so you're from New York. It was like pizza, but it didn't have like any like good toppings or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
it was too bland. Like there's
well,
no expertise behind it.
we weren't feeding it, and almost it's like, again, this is the point of like how we work together so well. It's like we're almost not feeding it enough. We weren't feeding it enough context as to what it was looking at. It was like, hey, here's
Yeah.
this screenshot, tell me what this means. And it's like, sure, if your sessions are down, that's great, but sessions down for what, and on what page, and for what
Mm.
client, and what industry are they in, and who is it, and not allowing GBT to have the full view of, yeah, sessions may be down, but I also want you to look at conversion rate or conversions, and this is actually what's really important to the client. So yeah, you may tell me sessions are down, but I want you to also point out the fact that conversions and session conversion rate is up, which is the real takeaway here, right? And
Yeah.
I think again, ChatGPT does a great job of just uploading docs, analyzing, giving it some, minimal prompt to get feedback on like analysis and analytical points, but it's just not nearly detailed enough to pull it out without any context.
So I think that's where I got the idea. Is like, I bet AI could do this. And then yeah, I was uploading those screenshots and I was like, if I give it better context or guardrails, and then start spitting it out. So basically brain dumped everything into this app. And then I don't remember like w when I was like, yo, Connor, let's not chase everybody else's dreams. Let's chase our own.
Is her own.
Yeah, I don't remember when I reached out to you. Oh, you know what? I've reached out to you a couple times on like couples like stupid ideas, and then this one I still have you know what? Here, I'll play the voicemail.
We've gone through so many ideas of, well, me and you got really into the vibe coding, like really what, like 2, 3 months ago. We're like, yes, like this is great. We can do something. And then you were always the idea guy. I told you some of my projects I was working on, but you're like, okay, well, what about a directory? Right. I remember a directory was like our first conversation.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
it was just like
yeah.
there were way too many holes in it, I think. And eventually you were just like, yeah, all right, like scrap the directory thing. I think there was one more thing in there, forget what it was. And then you landed on campaign pilots and what do we call it before? Campaign lens, right?
Campaign. Yeah, yeah. Look,
Campaign lens.
it
And
was
it was
something like looking at your data with the right lens, like
yeah, yeah. And
something
it
like
was
that.
great idea. And now it's just morphed into something that, again, kind of above and beyond and a more, I think an easier rollout. I think an easier thing to kind of throw out there, whereas some of the other ideas were a little complex. Like the directory thing was,
I think it's because we're both in the space, we're scratching our own itch, and we have expertise behind it.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's okay. So I found the voicemail. Hang on, I'll put it on speaker.
Nah, bro. I know you're out there mountain biking or doing some crazy shit. I guess hit me up. Let's chit chat on this thing. It's interesting. Please. That was the exact voice
That was
memo.
it. That was August 1st, 2025.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I know
Yeah.
you're out there mountain biking or some shit.
Yeah.
I bet you were too.
I was too. I think I do downhill mountain biking for context.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was. But yeah, landed on campaign pilots and I was like, well, and landed on the idea for the app and I started building it and I was like, you know what? I wonder if, just a simple like API call, but here's a bunch of knowledge behind it. And then I remember when I showed you, you're like, you know what? You should put connectors on this because that's where, making it somebody's workflow because then they wouldn't have to go to GA4 nor
Download the
Search Console.
data, import it, and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Which again, I think that's for people who are listening, right? This is, I think, the application part for yourselves. If you're a builder or even interested in starting in anything, I think it's almost thinking through logically, how does this benefit somebody and what's the work they have to go through to get to the end result or the end point, right? It's like, and I think for us, it was a really great conceptually, it was awesome, but logistically, in terms of having to download your data, import it, it just, for me, it's at that point, it almost, and that's what I said to you, that's what we discussed. It was like, this is kind of a waste for somebody because by the time they're already in there, export the data, import it, and get some feedback. You could do the same thing in ChatGPT. So what separates us out from
Yeah.
doing something like that? And the connectors were exactly that missing link.
I think once the connectors, building that out, well, AI, pardon me, build that out, like fine tuning it, all of that. I mean, it saves so much time. And
Yeah.
then like the analysis, and then the schedule, the pilots, the schedule analysis, that was another component. I think all it saves time and not working in theory, not working 16-hour days, not having to do a whole analysis on a Sunday night, and instead you can watch maybe a scary movie, it's not too scary, and then like no more of that late night BS. I think that's where this
Yeah.
idea kind of
Yep.
came from.
I
So,
think it alleviates a lot of those pain points for a lot of people. And
um,
at least for us, it alleviates that pain point, and hopefully it alleviates the chasing down somebody else's dreams. And now we can chase around for a little bit.
do we leave anything? I think
I think in
kind of
terms of
covered
a
it.
very general overview, which I know if you guys have stayed tuned for this,
If we
we
still have
love you
listeners.
guys. Like we appreciate you, and just appreciate you for sticking with us through it. But I think that kind of gives them a pretty high level of some background, where we're at, how we met, things we've worked on together, and really kind of what culminated into where we're at right now, right? Talking to you guys who are listening, talking to each other, and being able to, this was probably the likeliest back and forth that we have on a day-to-day basis for people who are listening, instead of it being more about structured in terms of a podcast, topics, having guests on. This felt more real in terms of if I gave you a call tomorrow at 1 o'clock and said, "Hey, I got to chew your ear off about something for an hour.
Mhm.
What do you think?" Just good, natural,
Yeah.
nice way to go through this.
I think that this peels a curtain back on it. This isn't a generic what we're talking about. It's not a generic. Our idea was not generic. It was very niched. So it's exciting. Building it is, it's a pain in the ass at times. It's fun. I like it. I like to build stuff. I like to just mess around and tinker with stuff, and then
It's the hobby thing. I think at one point, at what point does it become more of a hobby than it does a chore or labor, right? It's like,
yeah.
even for me
So
going through this stuff, it ends up being more enjoyable than it does not. So,
it's exciting. So we're waiting on the API from Google Ads, and then once that is out, yeah, we'll launch it and put it out in the wild and see what the reception is, see what the feedback is. But with Connor, how many years have you been in the agency space?
it's got to be, geez, I started at 23 and I'm now 37. For 14 years,
Okay.
almost 15. It'll be 15 years.
No way.
So
All
yeah,
right.
there's 15 years of agency, a lot of agency experience in there. And then I've
So,
done my own thing for about 5 years now. It'll be 5 years or 6 years in February also.
oh, over
Right around
two
my birthday
decades.
is when I opened up.
Okay. All right. So that's why you don't sleep, huh?
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
little bit.
So over 2 decades experience. So as far as website data, how the end goal of this app, of course, is to let somebody using the app read their data. What does it mean? And then what to do next. So
Mhm.
how to get more customers if you're building an app, if you're building just, if you, whether you're an agency or internally contractor, whatever, this solves that problem. That's where all of this is coming from. So yeah, I think that about covers where we are today, huh?
Yeah, I guess it certainly does. I guess we want to wrap it up here. And next week, what do we got for next week?
We have somebody lined up. Oh yeah, because we're looking for, well, I won't say out loud. We've got something planned for next week. So it's exciting. Oh yeah, and the idea behind the podcast was that AI is like really freaking cool and like building stuff. And the first time that happens, you just like blows your brain apart, and getting talking about it is like really cool. So
Yeah, I mean,
that's where
it's
the idea of the podcast came from.
talk about the builds. And yeah, the podcast came, I think, out of that. And also, again, it's very much tied still to the marketing piece. And again,
Yeah.
people who are just starting out building, or maybe you're a very skilled builder and you just don't know how to bring this thing to market.
How to get customers. Yeah, that's a
Yep.
pain point, right? Is getting customers. So
Exactly.
cool. We'll wrap it up. If you found value in this, if you're still listening,
We appreciate you.
yes, thank you. And like and subscribe, and we'll be back next week for episode 22.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Peace.